Hi, welcome back to Bedroom Brainiacs. I'm Julie, and we're here to celebrate Mental Health Awareness Month. Today I'm here with Kat, who's going to kick it off for us.
Hi, I'm Kat Dukes. I am the owner of the Center for Connection and Desire, which is a group practice that specializes in sex therapy and couples therapy and also adult sex education. And Bedroom Brainiacs is our adult sex education, both online and in person and in Delaware. So today, as part of Mental Health Awareness Month, we are doing this video and we really want to talk about the intersections between mental health awareness and one of our specialties, sexual health. So we're going to talk about what does sexuality have to do with your mental health? And there are so many ways that sexual health and mental health intersect and how important that is. And we know that from all of our work with our sex therapy clients and our couples therapy clients. And so first of all, I mean, there are so many intersections, but first of all, there's that incredible pro-social connection and that the inherent relationship between your sexuality and how you connect with your relationships with your partners, your romantic partners, and yourself. It's absolutely huge. It's absolutely critical.
Yeah, and that lends itself as well to like the correlation just between like if you have a positive sexual relationship with yourself, the way you feel about yourself, if you know how to give yourself pleasure, like
Mhm.
that impacts how you feel about yourself.
Mhm.
And if you see pleasure as something valuable and you have the power to be able to give that to yourself, like that informs a sense of power and powerfulness for yourself as well. So I think there's a lot kind of in that piece that really shows a way to like build self-worth through embracing one's sexuality.
The reason we feel that it's so important to talk about that during Health Awareness Month is because we know what an incredibly damaging job just growing up in this culture, even if someone doesn't have sexual trauma, what an incredible damaging job just growing up in our culture does on people's sexuality and therefore their self-worth because of the shame and the taboo around sexuality. I mean, it not only is it just difficult when people are taught that you shouldn't talk about it, that their bodies are shameful, that touching yourself is shameful, or that just being sexual at all is shameful. But many of our clients come to us because they actually don't understand why they feel bad about their sexuality. And what we do when they come to us is like we just normalize it. We're like, actually, that's really sadly normal. And when we say it's normal, we're not saying it's healthy to feel bad about your sexuality. It's that we understand what a damaging job our culture does around shaming and hurting folks around their sexuality, with the shaming that happens.
Yeah, when we don't get told at any time that our sexuality is just an inherent part of being a human being and that there is this vast array of ways to be sexual, all of which are completely normal. And that idea that we don't hear that, many people have never heard that until they come into a room and talk to a sex therapist. It really demonstrates the impact that our culture has on our sexuality. If we're being told that a regular part of who we are, just a thing like sleeping and eating, is not is something to be ashamed of.
Mhm.
Our culture also talks to us about being ashamed of those things, but that's the idea, right? Like we
Right.
have awareness that it is the way our culture talks about eating can be shameful, but we don't have as much awareness that the way our culture shames sexuality is a problem, and it has a direct impact on how we view ourselves. If we're sitting there feeling sexual feelings and thinking sexual thoughts, and the only stories that we have about these things is that they're bad and something that we shouldn't share and something we should be ashamed of, then we probably won't share it. And then we probably will feel bad about thinking those things and feeling those things. When the reality is, thinking those things and feeling those things is totally normal.
And not even just normal. But when we worked with so many of our clients, it's a marathon, not a sprint, but we can help them get to a place where we can show them that sexuality can actually get to be a place of such deep joy, like such deep connection and pleasure and love and creative expression. And so coming from like a well of, shame and silence and, moving forward, maybe past like, the line of maybe neutrality, but maybe moving into like joy and pleasure and connection and eroticism and
Celebration.
creativity. Yeah, celebration, absolute
Yeah.
celebration, right?
Well, and I
But
think,
it can take, but that can take a long time.
yeah, well, that's exactly like that idea of reminding us that it's a marathon is so valuable because for many people, myself included, right? We have this idea that it's like, well, I know that the culture is oppressive and I know that the shame story is there, and so I just don't believe it anymore.
Mhm.
And then we get frustrated, right? That frustration of like, well, how come I still feel bad? And it's
Mhm.
like, well, because we've been told that one 8,000 million times from infancy till yesterday, till this morning, till just now.
Mhm.
And the other one, it is an active and ongoing rebellion against that story
Mhm.
to get to that place of joy and celebration. It is, you have to do that active work to be pushing against it because it's not going anywhere. It's still there and it's still loud. And so it is ongoing effort to shift away from that story and create a new story that is louder than that one.
But before you do that work, you have to even know that that story is not true and then reject that.
Yeah.
You have to recognize that you have to actually recognize that story is untrue, which is a feat in itself. Then reject that story and then do the work of recreating your own story that serves you. So there are so many steps in that process. And so let me zoom out for a little bit. We are we are therapists and sex and relationship experts and educators. However, actually most mental health therapists don't have the benefit of also having other sexuality graduate degrees like we do and deep sexuality training like we do. And it is a deep fault of the therapy system. It's a structural problem. Um, Doug Braun Harvey, who is also a sexologist, he in a training that I took from him, he said that our field, the therapy field, is sexually illiterate. And so, in the mental health field, what our clients will typically discover when they go to therapy is they will be with therapists who will not ask about their sexuality. So I'm talking to the people watching this video now. You will typically be with therapists who will not ask about your sexuality, that will not necessarily acknowledge your sexuality, that typically don't have more training and education than you about sexuality. And if you're coming in with shame and discomfort about sexuality, and then your therapist across from you has no additional training or education and doesn't ask you about your sexuality, it makes sense that you may continue to feel maybe judged, maybe ashamed, and maybe feeling like, oh my gosh, like maybe I really shouldn't, I should continue to not talk about it. And so having therapists that have no training in sexuality continues to perpetuate this problem of shame and silence, which is why it's so incredibly important that in order to eradicate shame around sexuality as part of essential mental health, and here's our calls to action. Find a sex positive therapist that has sexuality training. So here at the center, all of our therapists have either extra sexuality master's degrees or PhDs or deep sexuality training, right? So find a sex positive therapist that has sexuality training that actively includes sexuality in their work with you, right? So find that. That is incredibly important. Advocate for your sexuality to be included in your therapy, and really advocate for yourself. What else, Julie?
Well, I think in that idea of advocacy, like part of like maybe we're not there yet, right? Like if you are there and your therapist hasn't asked and you don't know how to bring it up and you're sitting there, and you're just not ready to bring it up to that person yet, can you write it down on a piece of paper and then bring it with you? Can you write it down on a piece of paper and share it with a friend that you trust, or your partner if you have a partner or partners? Finding these ways that you can begin to break through that wall of shame and begin to see that it's actually not, that's not where the power is. You have the power, and begin to use your voice to speak up and talk about and read about and watch videos like this one about your sexuality. It doesn't have to be a shout from the rooftops. It can be written down on a note and handed to a friend.
Absolutely. And what we know is that when we move towards being more sex positive about our sexuality, when you move towards being more sex positive about your own sexuality, that benefits your mental health. It is one of the antidotes to our culture's oppressive shame around sexuality. These are absolutely correlated. And so, any final words about Mental Health Awareness Month and the benefits of taking care of your sexuality and being more sex positive with yourself?
Your sexuality is part of you. We have a culture that separates us into these little digestible bits. You've got your mental health and your physical health and your sexual health and all of these different healths. It's all just one thing. You are you. And so your sexuality is your mental health, and your mental health is your sexual health. They are enmeshed together forever. It's not one or the other. It is all of them. And celebrating your sexuality is celebrating yourself, is celebrating your mental health, is celebrating your physical health. It's just a really great way to celebrate you.
I couldn't say it any better. Thank you, everybody, for watching.
Thanks so much.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Please stay in touch with us by subscribing to our YouTube channel, following us on social media, and absolutely please comment below and let us know if you have any suggestions for future topics. We would love to hear from you.